Welcome, dear listeners, to Ghostly Broadcast, Global Paranormal Station, your late-night radio show coming from my farm. I'm your host, Timothy, and tonight, we journey through the haunting memories of South America, unveiling tales of childhood terror. Brace yourself, sit back, and dim the lights. If you haven't already, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification to stay updated with our chilling explorations. Now, let's delve into the world of the unknown with our first story. I am from Salta, Argentina. Name is Santiago. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was just a kid, about 4 years old, living in the quiet town of Salta. My parents, they were the stubborn kind, decided it was high time I slept in the dark. They thought it would toughen me up, you know. So against my protests, they took away my luz de noche, nightlight, something common in our local culture for young kids. That very night, something happened that I'll never forget, no matter how hard I try. My room was pitch black, the kind of dark where you can't even see your hand in front of your face. I was already scared, but what made it worse was my closet. That creaky old closet door, it decided to open on its own. I remember lying there, petrified, as a pair of shadowy eyes stared at me from within the darkness. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. I could only watch those eyes until the sun finally rose. That night changed my life. It was like the darkness had swallowed my voice. I didn't speak again for 3 whole weeks. It was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life, and it stuck with me ever since. The incident that night was just the beginning. Each night, the same scene reenacted itself. My closet door creaking open and those eyes staring at me from the darkness. I was trapped in a cycle of dread that was bleeding into my days. I was too terrified to sleep, too scared to speak. My parents were at their wits' end, not understanding why I'd suddenly become mute. The house started to feel different, heavy, like it was holding its breath while waiting for the night to fall. And with every passing sunset, my heartbeat would race, preparing for battle. There was this helplessness, you know, the kind where you know something is wrong but can't do anything about it. It was more than just a 4-year-old's fear of the dark. It was a fear that had seeped into my very core. I was trapped between the terror of what was happening and the guilt of keeping this secret from my parents. It was a secret that was eating me alive, and the only thing I could do was to stare into those shadowy eyes and hope for dawn. The weeks wore on, and the terrifying routine became my new normal. My parents tried everything, doctors, psychologists, even a speech therapist. But nothing worked. My silence became a specter haunting our house alongside the nightly visitor in my closet. I could see the worry etching deeper lines into my parents' faces each day. I remember one particular night. The eyes seemed to glow more intensely, the stare more penetrating. It was as if they were trying to communicate something, but I was too young, too terrified to understand. The nights grew longer, the days shorter. My childhood innocence was rapidly being replaced with an adult-like dread. One night, the closet door didn't just creak open. It swung wide open with a force that made my heart jump into my throat. Those shadowy eyes seemed to come closer, the darkness more suffocating. That's when I realized it wasn't just about me anymore. I needed to protect my parents, to shield them from this terror. But how could I? I was just a child, voiceless, paralyzed by my own fear. Eventually, my parents had to give in. They brought back my luz de noche, and like magic, I found my voice again. The closet door stopped opening at night, the eyes disappeared, and I slept without fear. But the memory of those weeks still haunts me, even at 51. Every time I see a closet door, I hold my breath, half expecting it to creak open. The fear has never truly left me. Did I imagine it all? Was it a nightmare? I'll never know. What I do know is it's a dark secret, a memory locked away in the closet of my mind. Our second story. Hi, Timothy. My name is Juan, and I'm from the small town of Cusco in the Peruvian mountains. I followed your ghostly broadcast for a while, connecting with stories from others. Today I'm ready to share my own story, a chilling experience from my youth that has never left me. It's more than a story. It's a piece of my life that still haunts me. In the summer of 1992, my cousin Pedro and I joined a scout camp organized by our local church at a retreat center in the mountains. The place was known for its tranquility and was considered a haven for those seeking solace in prayer. Within the retreat there was a cabin used by the priests for solitary contemplation, a place off limits to us kids. Despite having the option to sleep in the big retreat house with the others, my cousin and I were young and full of adventure. Wanting to show our bravery, we decided to sneak into that cabin and spend the night there. The beginning of the night was innocent, filled with whispered tales, laughter, and the thrill of doing something forbidden. But as darkness settled, the atmosphere shifted. Strange noises, unexplained by logic, echoed through the cabin. The wind howled, windows shook, and something unseen seemed to press against the boundaries of our safe space. The fear began as a tingling sensation, something at the back of our minds. But it grew, becoming a tangible presence in the room. We could feel it in the chill that settled around us, in the unseen eyes we felt watching us, in the creaking of the floorboards and the rustling leaves outside. Every noise seemed to speak of something lurking, something hidden but close. We began to pray, initially softly, then with growing intensity as the fear took hold. Our prayers were those of desperation, calling on higher powers to protect us from the unseen terror. We recited verses we had learned from church, words passed down from our families, pleas for safety and cries for strength. As the night wore on, the fear became a living thing, wrapping around us, binding us together in our shared terror. Pedro and I took turns ensuring the others stayed awake, knowing that falling asleep would leave one of us alone with the terror. The room grew colder, and an old wooden chair seemed to be implicated in the unknown, sitting innocently but feeling menacing. The fear was not a mere emotion. It was a shared experience, a journey through the dark unknown, facing something we couldn't see or understand. It was a test of our bravery, our faith, our bond as cousins. It was a dance with the unseen, with the mysteries of life that we often overlook. We continued to pray, our voices becoming hoarse, our bodies trembling. We shivered not just from the cold, but from a fear so profound it touched our very souls. Time lost meaning as we faced this relentless, invisible terror. Finally, as the first rays of dawn broke through the dark windows, the strange noises ceased and the room warmed. We lay there, worn out and shaken but alive. We made a pact never to speak of that night again, a promise that held for many years. The experience was a lesson in the unknown, a reminder that life is unpredictable, filled with unseen dangers and mysteries. It taught us humility, respect for the unknown, and the value of courage. It's a memory that still lingers, a chilling reminder that fear can find us anywhere, even in places we think are safe. I needed to share this, Timothy, not just as a story, but as a caution and reflection on the complexities of life. It's a tale of human emotion, of fear, courage, faith, and the bond between two young boys facing the unknown. It's a piece of my past, and it's a lesson for us all. Thank you for letting me share this with you and your listeners. Our third story. I'm Alejandro from Juarez, Mexico, and I want to take you on a journey through my past to a fear that's haunted me since I was a child. Even now, in my 40s, it still lingers, creeping up on me during the darkest hours of the night. Picture an apartment layout where a child's room faces the living room, and a long, foreboding corridor stretches out to the side, leading to the kitchen. That was my childhood home, and it's where my story begins. Late in the evenings, the apartment would be swallowed by darkness, creating a sharp contrast with the warm glow of the kitchen where my parents spent their time. For a young child with an active imagination, the corridor's shadows were a source of endless terror. I'd imagine shapes lurking in the darkness, faces distorted by my fears, ready to pounce at any moment. My fear of the dark became so intense that it led me to develop a nightly ritual. Since I was supposed to be in bed with the lights off sleeping, I would tiptoe to the edge of the corridor, staying close to the comforting kitchen light, constantly looking over my shoulder at the encroaching darkness. My young heart would pound in my chest, urging me back into my room. But I'd stand there frozen, watching my parents as they talked, cooked, and slowly wrapped up their day. But my story takes an unsettling turn here. The scenario I faced every night started seeping into my dreams, turning into a series of terrifying nightmares. The corridor's darkness seemed even more threatening in my dreams, like something was hiding in it, waiting for the right moment to grab me. In these dreams, I would stand at the edge of the corridor, just like every night, at the same spot where I felt inexplicably frightened by something behind me. I would try to call out to my parents in the kitchen, my voice cracking as I shouted and pleaded, but I had no voice and they couldn't see or hear me. I'd be stuck, motionless, my cries turning into sobs, my fear turning into a nightmare from which I couldn't wake. These nightmares weren't fleeting or easily forgotten. They continued to haunt me throughout my youth and well into adulthood. Each one was so vivid that I could almost feel an icy chill surrounding me when I awoke, my skin damp with cold sweat, my breath coming in raged gasp. The cruel repetition of these nightmares intensified my fears. They held a surreal quality, making it difficult to separate my dream state from real life. Each night as I laid down to sleep, anxiety would grip me, and the vivid images of my nightmares would flood my mind. The darkness of the corridor would seem to come alive, its shadows taking ghastly shapes. Years passed and I grew more and more anxious. The nightmares, although only figments of my imagination, deepened my fear of the dark. Even during the day, the simple act of passing through the corridor would send my heart rate skyrocketing. I would rush through, feeling as though I were outrunning an invisible terror. The impact of these dreams on my psyche was profound. The blurring lines between dreams and reality created a fear of the darkness so intense that it has become a part of who I am. It's a dread so deeply ingrained that I sometimes wonder if it will ever truly leave me. Even now, in my 40s, the fear lingers. The gloom of nightfall brings back the memories of that young boy, paralyzed by fear at the edge of the ominous corridor. I've moved several times since my youth, but the trepidation follows me, echoing in my dreams and reminding me of the terror the dark once held. I wish I could offer an explanation or resolution to this story, but it remains a chilling aspect of my life, a constant reminder of those haunting nightmares. The fear of the dark may seem irrational to some, but for me, it's a reality I must face every day. It's a shadow that has followed me throughout my life, an echo of my past that still resonates in my soul. My story is not just about a fear of the dark, it's a reflection of how deeply our childhood experiences can shape us. It's a testament to the power of the mind to create fears that transcend time and age, lingering long after we've grown and changed. It's a part of my past that I carry with me, a lesson in how something seemingly insignificant can become a lifelong struggle. In the end, I've learned to live with my fear, accepting it as a part of who I am. It's a reminder that we all have our shadows, our echoes, our fears. They make us human and they make our journeys unique. But most importantly, they remind us that we are more resilient and capable than we might think, even in the face of our deepest, darkest fears. And there you have it, dear viewers. From the shadowy eyes in a Salta closet to the echoing corridors of Juarez, we've journeyed through the haunting landscapes of childhood terror. A world of unseen fears, shared nightmares, and unforgettable memories has been unveiled. I hope you found a connection with these eerie tales from the past, and perhaps even glimpsed your own shadows in the stories. Here, at Ghostly Broadcast, Global Paranormal Station, we continue to delve into the mysteries that bind us all. If you've enjoyed tonight's chilling tales, please take a moment to hit the like button below. Subscribe to our channel to join us on our nightly journey into the unknown. And don't forget to click the bell notification so you never miss a broadcast from my farm. This is your host, Timothy, signing off from the dark depths of South America. Sleep tight, and remember, we're never truly alone with our fears. Until next time.